the game ready right now.
Yeah, seems like the next slide, was not the right one, so they definitely need to find that game. Don't want to miss that, to be fair. So we'll be getting that one ready and get on track real soon.
Definitely. I mean, we have had that in the past with the Australians living a bit further away from the servers.
A bit,
So sometimes you can have those connection issues.
Or your Ocean Man, where you have the power to crash every single game you play in.
Oh, I
That's
remember that one.
Also,
Still don't know. Was that really coincidence? Was it Ocean Man just hacking and DDoSing their opponents? We will never know. But I can hear the sound of the game starting and we jump over right to it.
and we didn't miss a thing, and we spawn in our country. I mean,
We do indeed.
this does look like Germany. And
would
actually,
it-
Leero insta-guessing. Or both, kinda.
Yeah,
That's very
Germany
interesting.
is the type of country where on moving, I think it's not the right country to insta-send. You have actually a lot of information all around. But on no move, it's a different story. Germany can be pretty hard to reach and guess.
Yeah, very interesting to see that
Thanks.
V89, he has the extra 15 seconds, and, technically nothing can happen in a time where he can move around, so it's no disadvantage. So, very interesting. Maybe he just wants to play fast and don't spend any time.
Probably.
As we see both players taking their time on Mexico, because they're definitely both trying, to find the state abbreviations or maybe a phone code. Both very helpful.
Yeah, definitely not only depending on the country, but also on your spawn. Like this time we are in a city, we have a lot of information given, whereas in Germany we were just on a random rural road with no info anywhere nearby. So that will always affect your playstyle on the round.
Yeah, and I was
And
about to
we
say,
had Morelos on the sign there. V89 clicking. Somewhat in the north of it, was a bit further south.
both people just hedging CDMX, but it's not a hedge if it's correct.
That is right.
As
We
we see
are
them.
in Japan here. We have a long plate for some reason.
But we did have a yellow arrow, so that will put us in Chugoku.
That is
And
right.
Yeah, the pace
Interesting
is quite high.
location there. I thought we would be in the mountains.
Yeah,
but
some
we are
coastal
right on the
mountains there.
coast. Yep. Always hard to get those right or guess them right.
Okay, I
As
mean
we go
both
over to
very famous
this-
roads.
Yep, road. As you already can tell from the camera quality, it's a pretty old footage of the road. And usually on old footage, you assume the players will know by now where it is. It is in Yukon, the road to the Northwestern Territories.
Yep.
And region guessing it can be tough sometimes. It's a pretty long road.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, it's like 1,000 kilometers from the start, so knowing, what part of the road looks like what is definitely a good thing to do. And now, we're entering the multi, so insta-sending is very risky, because on 3x multipliers, everything can really happen. As we go into Australia,
Indeed, and especially for Leero, this could maybe be handy because he is from Australia.
we have a Mount Isa lock-in by V89. Very interesting to see. Leero doesn't seem to
Yeah,
find anything
definitely.
else.
Gives some Queensland vibes, and Leero also ending up there. We have those random hills here and there. It's one city over, however, that city is 100 kilometers away.
Yeah, just a quick drive, on a windy road through the Queensland outback. Very interesting how they both ended up in the same town when there was no information given. But that just really shows how they're on a very high level and also very like-minded.
Yeah, I feel like in Queensland, the closer you get to the coastal areas, the more mountains you have, whereas inland, there aren't too many cities covered. And if you have those random hills around and flatness, Besides that, Mount Isa is always a good click, and we are back in Japan. We have a Shikoku blade there.
Oh, Leero barely any time to really get a guess in, but he is space blocking the right end of Shikoku there. And how close is this game, by the way? We had 6 rounds played, and these guys have not lost 1,000 health combined, so...
not much happened so far. Let's enter this round. It's saying city of something. I can read it in time.
There's also a water tower, which usually has the town name in North America. And I would love for one of the players to look at the water tank, or the water tower.
Yeah, they probably already saw it. For us, the panning can be a bit delayed sometimes. But I had that vibe as well. Like that Minnesota or Dakota's area.
We did have a North Dakota plate with the blue on top, so I think V89 should be in the right state, and also Leero.
Yep,
and
he did guess inside a city. They both are in southeast there, but V89 in the right city with the 5K. The first one today, blessing us with the animation.
Blessing us. You know, that town was probably so small that, you know, just clicking in it will give you the 5K.
Probably.
And now we just spawn in a urban South Africa. How do you region guess urban South Africa?
Yeah, that's a very good question, especially with those green mountains that you get all along the coast. The further north you go, the drier it gets, as a rule of thumb. But those mountainous greens can also be surrounded around Lesotho. But this feels a bit more coastal to me. So basically these players try to find the place name now, because the coastline in South Africa is pretty long.
Yeah, at first when we spawned in, I thought we saw like West Cape Pole, but it doesn't seem to be there. And Leero found a sign here which could be very big, and he is looking for the place that it says.
He's scanning around. Doesn't seem to find it. Made a switch there. I think he's getting there. Maybe he has the road number, but V89 also not too far away, given that he didn't have that sign. But it was an important one, bringing V89 to half HP there.
Yeah, and there's only 2 rounds left to play. Leero leading here with 1,000 points, but that lead is an illusion because we are on 5x multiplier and 5.5x on the final one. So nothing set in stone yet. And wow, like insta-guess on 5x
that
multiplier.
That is interesting, because we are in Argentina. We have that plate with the black dot, which you only see in Argentina. And it was further south there. Yeah, I didn't know if he tried to get the pressure on or if he had anything, because urban Argentina can be really, really hard to region guess unless you have a grid that you learned. Because a lot of cities in Argentina have a grid you can use to rule out or rule in.
Wait, and I know this town. This is Obergurgel. I always go skiing here. This is yeah, this is the Hotel Hochfest in Obergurgel. It's like south of Sölden. It's like southwest of Innsbruck, and V89 is pretty close, but it's a bit further away.
Further north, but interesting. We got a place where you have been.
Yeah, it says Tirol on the truck as well, but I've been here like 2 months ago. No, 1 month ago even. Yeah, south of Sölden.
Yep, there it is. Cheeky 5K from Ziggy. But yeah, not really any room for V89 to turn around the game here. And Leero securing that game really came down to the South Africa round, because besides that, it was a very, very even game.
Yeah, and he also had, had that click in Argentina. Technically he gained 2.5k points on it, but the difference in their guesses was minimal. I don't think anyone really had a good hunch there.
Correct, as we go over to the no-move mode here. Leero in the lead for now, but nothing over for V89. We are in Oman, somewhere on these deserty roads. Leero looking for a lineup there, but V89 also has one already.
Okay, for a second,
both end up on the same place.
Big 1 point here for Leero. That's definitely going to set the stage here. I thought for a second somebody 5k'd that location, and I was about to jump out my seat, but
always when both players end up in the same exact location and you don't see the other guess, you always assume it's under the pin.
And this seems like a very famous road slash bridge. Both of them scanning and
are in Botswana with hills. That's a very good clue to be either very far south or very far north. But with how green it is, I could see this being north, especially because the border has a river there between Namibia and Botswana. There is a river going along the borderline, so let's see. We have a line up there from V89. He is on a bridge. Not
will it be the correct one though?
Not on the border, but still pretty far north.
And it is just
It
downtown
is
Maun.
in Maun, yeah. I didn't realize he switched up that far south. I thought he's still in the north. I mean, Maun is still pretty far north in Botswana. But interesting, because Maun is usually very recognizable, very sandy with palm trees and all that.
Yeah, but also we had a lot of cars, so it definitely had to be like in an urban environment. And, you know, Maun is kind of split in two halves where the river just runs through the middle. So, could definitely pick up on that.
Definitely.
Pretty standard Norway here. I don't think much to say. I feel like both will end up somewhat south or west.
Yep. It is very hilly. Hilly urban is usually more western, but V89 getting a very close plonk down. I don't know if that was a hedge or if he had a vibe for that region. But nonetheless,
he knows.
very important round, yeah.
If he knows, he knows. As we... Oh, I've heard of the city before. Don't ask me where it is. We are on the coast, though, so definitely very scannable.
Chile,
True.
first of all.
First of all, let's start in the country. We are in Chile.
The country.
And
Yep, we have the car, the looks, really.
and V89 found the town, so this could be very big points here for him because it is way further north than Leero is. He is in Puerto Montt, and I think he is north of Concepcion, so...
Still looking around there. Yeah, V89 had a very good vibe on this round. Again, he zoomed in right where he thought it could be and found those town names.
And that will be definitely be enough
That
to close out the game.
enough.
Technically not a flawless, you know. Leero got that one single point on the Oman round where they were right on each other. But, you know, V89 striking back, and now we go into the NMPZ mode, which, you know, I think is the preferred mode of both players. So maybe both of them will be happy, but only one of them can win at the end of the day. So who do you predict to win this, or is it not predictable?
Yeah, I mean, that game was very, very strong from V89. If he keeps that momentum, it's gonna look bad for Leero. But Leero also known to turn around games in his favor. And we are in a very urban environment here. The houses look like South Africa. You know, with those gates all around the buildings. For security.
Gotta protect your home.
With a standard hedge there.
I mean, I got the right coast, but that coast is very long.
Yep. We are back to the coastal talks of South Africa. It can be very hard.
And speaking of hard, I mean...
Yeah, I mean... Urban Russia, I assume?
Why does this almost look like the round in Irkutsk we had?
I remember
in another
that one.
stream, but I think that's just because a pipe was there as well.
Yeah, it could be the pipe. There was a pretty big pipe on that as well. We have some rainy coverage, could also maybe tell you the season and some regions of the country. It looks like spring. We have those lush greens, but yeah, besides that, it's a very hard to region guess. I would say this is pretty much the standard click you do if you don't have a strong eastern vibe.
Yeah, just standard west, it's just like Kazan. Very fun north there, actually. I did not expect that.
Nope,
did
not at all.
Much vegetation.
It looked very lush and green. As we go over to this round, we are in Japan. However, we don't have a transformer on this pole, which you usually need to make a region guess in Japan. They both end up in the north. I mean, we have some transformers in the back. I can't really tell. They both end up going north, but V89 really committing far
pays
enough
off.
to make a difference in points here.
Yeah, Japan can be very deceiving. You know, it is a flat area, so you definitely consider like around Tokyo because that is very flat. But also the northern part can have some flat areas, and even Hokkaido.
Correct. And another country that isn't really too easy to region guess, South Korea. They do the standard middle southeast-ish click to move over to the next round. As we go over to this round.
It seems like we're back in Russia. And
yeah,
it looks like autumn, winterish coverage. So, you know, what do players consider here? Could this be Kaliningrad? Could this be Bryansk? Could this be, what is it called? Belgorod? Or maybe even east? Okay, Leero is very far away from V89 now.
Yeah, most of this fall coverage is in a circle south of Moscow. So that's covered by V89.
And he is right on it. And
He
that will be
is
more than enough to close
on
out
it,
this game.
Indeed, yeah. A lot of points are gained in Russia per usual. But
As always.
V89 did indeed play very, very, very strong in this match. It's a very well deserved win.
And that's always the
Nothing
moving curse.
for
Moving
Leero
curse
to do
coming
there.
in.